our first guest for today. Now, my name is Kristen Durrell and I am the host, and our author for this session is the wonderful Amelia Mellor. She is an award-winning author, teacher and nature nerd who started writing when she was 8 and researches her characters' adventures by recreating them in person, from climbing in caves to swimming with sharks. I don't think I'll be doing that. She writes beautiful books though, and you may know some of them, like The Grandest Bookshop in the World, The Bookseller's Apprentice, and most recently, Ocean Forge, The Wicked Ship. Welcome, Amelia. What lovely to have you joining us.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Let's get stuck into it.
I agree. And also joining us in the studio, as always, is our amazing and wonderful resident illustrator, James Foley.
Hey, everybody. Hello, Amelia. Nice to meet you. And hello, everyone
Morning,
out there.
James. Nice to meet you too. I'm excited.
How's it going? Your throat sounds a little croaky. You're getting better?
Yeah, I'm on the mend.
Fantastic. Great to hear it. It's wonderful to have you here.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have Amelia joining us today. But as Amelia said, let's get stuck into it. I bet you're all itching to do some writing, Littlescribers. And Amelia has some amazingly fun activities to come. I've had a sneak peek, so I know they're going to be great. So Amelia, before we get going though on the first activity, can you just briefly give us a sense of where this idea for this workshop, which is all about writing persuasive letters with a nice historical twist, at least to begin with, where did this idea come from?
Well, when I was writing The Bookseller's Apprentice, I discovered that the real-life Edward William Cole and his longest-serving employee, William Pike, I found out that the day that William was hired, he just went to Mr. Cole's bookstall with about 50 other boys, and there was just something about William that stood out in the crowd. I didn't think that was quite interesting enough for the main character of a novel. I thought he needed to try a little bit harder and show that he was good with words because, of course, he's going to work in a bookshop. So I started looking at how people used to apply for jobs, the language that they used in their job applications, and also from the employer's side, what kind of things they would put in the job advertisement. And that led us to today's activity.
Amazing. Do we think we've got the ad that we can show as well. So we're going to get that up perhaps to have a look at. Are you able to read that out to us, Amelia, perhaps? We'll have a look at the ad. I think we'll have that coming up in just a second, because what we're going to do then is we're going to have a look after that at the response to the application. So we're just getting that ad up. So everybody just stand by while we get our technical things underway. Yep, won't be long. Hang on a sec. I'm getting cues from the studio. No ad, no. So, Amelia, do you remember what was in that ad? And we might have a quick chat about that just so everyone knows. Oh, no, that's the response. So we'll leave that up there for a second so you can have a look at that, everyone at home. But what was the ad that Frank was responding to in this letter, Amelia?
We haven't told them who Frank is yet.
No, we'll do that.
So I had to create the letter that's in The Bookseller's Apprentice. I looked at different things. So the ad for Cole's Book Arcade and Cole's Bookshop, I found a lot of those, and nearly all of them said something along the lines of boy wanted, industrious, intelligent, smartly dressed, but I couldn't find any of the replies because those didn't tend to be published. So what I did instead was I looked at something from around the same time, and what I found was a letter from an American electrical engineer in the early 1900s rather than the late 1800s. And that electrical engineer was called Frank J. Southmaid. So that's what we're going to have a look at now, I think.
Perfect, yeah. So let's bring up that letter from Frank again when we can. And this is his response to that ad to be an electrical engineer. Can you take us through what we're looking at here, Amelia, and what makes this really unique? Because I can see there that this response was in 1913. That's a really long time ago.
Yeah. So I used this letter to try and guess what a letter from 1871 would look like. But shall I read out what's in the letter or?
Why don't you pull out some little bits so we can save your voice? How about that?
Okay,
Maybe
sure
just
thing.
pull out some of the key language because all Littlescribers, what we're going to get you to do in just a moment is we're going to get you to start creating a word bank. So on your piece of paper or on your whiteboard, we're going to get you to draw a circle. And then we're going to be writing in that circle some of the words that are historical, but also words that are persuasive. How is Frank trying to get everybody to give him this job? And James is going to do the same thing in a moment. So Amelia, as we read through this letter, we might bring the letter back up to have a look at. As you read through, if you could start pulling out some of these great words about historical and persuasive.
Would you like me to be Frank and do it in
Certainly.
an old-timey voice?
Oh,
Would that be useful?
Oh, Amelia, would you like James to read it out? He thinks he can do it in an old-timey voice, and we might
can
save
try.
your voice. What
Awesome.
do you think? Okay, let's bring that letter
All right.
back up.
Oh, and you okay, accept.
And from 1913. Oh my goodness.
Let's give it a go. So James is going to read it out, and then we're going to pull out some historical and persuasive words. I wonder if you little scribers can find some before we even finish reading. Have a go.
Dear Sirs, replying to your ad number 1169 in positions vacant in the December 28, 1912 issue, I would beg to say I have had 12 years' experience with water turbines of different makes, sorts, was for 4 years foreman and 5 years manager for a Breton manufacturing company, having all care of the power plant, both in mechanical repairs and private lighting plant. I'm familiar with water wheel governors, both mechanical and oil pressure. For nearly 2 years now, have been with B&M RR in a hydroelectric plant supplying power for street railway and car shops. Can give best of references of character and trustworthiness. Do not take alcohol or tobacco in any form. Am 33 years old and married. If position has not been filled, would like to hear more of particulars. Respectfully, Frank J. Southmaid, Franklin, New Hampshire, 371 North Main Street.
Wow, you're in the wrong career, James. I think you should be in the acting.
That was brilliant.
So let's have a think then.
Am I doing one section for
Let's start.
persuasive
Yeah,
and one
let's
section
start
for
on
historical?
No, let's just put them all together.
All together.
All of Frank's stuff.
All right.
You can either do it on one side or in the centre of your page, however you like. So, little scribers, as we're talking through this, maybe you could start adding a few words as well, I think. So we'll have a look at what James is putting up. We might need to bring that letter up again so everyone can remember. But Amelia, what are some of the things, what's some of the language that helps us know that that letter is historical to start with?
I mean, even the very first phrase, dear sirs, is different from what we would say today. Today we would say something like, dear hiring manager, or we would use the person's name. Some other things are, I would beg to say I've had 12 years experience. That's not a phrase we would use anymore. There are some points at which he doesn't use full sentences. He says, am familiar with this kind of machinery and can give the best of references as to my character. That's not quite the same as the way we would write it, but we would sort of do something similar in dot points on a job application today. But generally, it seems to me like the structure is quite different and a bit less formal than ours. Today, we would use a very strict formal structure for our job application letters, whereas in this one, it looks more like he's just writing down anything he thinks is relevant. And there is a bit of a structure because his references are in the last part. We still would include references last on a resume, on a CV. But instead of including those references, he's just said, I can give references. So it seems like we can see how there's a few more steps involved, whereas now we want to get everything done as soon as we can.
Yeah.
With this one, the employer would have to write back to him to ask for the references. He'd have to write back to them to give the references. Then they'd have to go and write to the references.
Yeah.
So there's a few different things going on compared to the way we do things now.
Yeah, and
the way we would write a job application now.
And it's very formal language too. So let's just pull out a couple of the persuasive words. And little scribers, so we don't run out of time in the session today, I'd love to see you all writing now as well. And teachers, we'd love to see some of the thoughts from the kids in the chat as well. We will come to do as a bit of a zoom around the country in just a moment to have a look at what you've been working on. Once we've shown another letter. So we're going to do that in just a moment. So we'd love you to be writing some historical words. What do you think looks historical in the letter? And Amelia, just want to very quickly pull out a couple of the persuasive words as well for us from the letter. And we'll get you little scribes to write some of those down as well.
Yeah, can we have the letter back?
Yes, we'll have it back now. Perfect. Thanks, Wayne.
Okay. That can give best of references of character and trustworthiness. That's a persuasive element. So he's sort of selling himself as a good employee. What else?
Yeah, I think he's been really clear about where he works. So he's
yes.
For 2 years I've been with this place. So giving a time frame on experience, I think, is quite persuasive.
12 years experience with different makes, and that's interesting too. Different makes rather than different kinds or different sorts.
Yeah,
that's more of our historical language, isn't it?
it is.
I think having all care of the plant is interesting as well. All care would be, total responsibility.
Yeah.
So that kind of blends our historical language and persuasive language there.
It does. And this is really great with all the historical ones. So Amelia, before we do our quick zoom around, and we're just going to go through this response quite quickly, you've taken this concept, put it in and had Billy, your character, write a response to an ad. We're going to bring that up now as well very quickly, and we're just going to have a look at that and maybe see how you've changed or adapted it slightly for a child. Because in a moment, little scribers, we're going to get you to take a lot of these words and you're going to be writing your own response to an ad. So Wayne, if we can bring up Billy's letter, and this was in your book, wasn't it, Amelia?
Yeah.
James, would you like to very quickly read this one out as well for us?
Sure. Dear Mr. Cole, I am replying to your advertisement in the Friday 7th of July 1871 edition of the Herald newspaper to show my enthusiastic interest in the position you have available. I have been a reading customer at Cole's Books for a long time, and I am eager to work with your exceptional business. I am conscientious and persistent, as well as the qualities you have specified. As for intelligence, I am top of my class for reading and the top 5 of my class in writing and arithmetic. As for honesty, I have been trusted to mind my 6 siblings for many years, and they have hardly ever come to harm in my care. As for industriousness, industry, I am the hardest working child in our house with the most responsibilities, because you can trust me to do things properly. As you may be aware, I can do a little magic, which is good for tidying things. I do not take alcohol or tobacco smoke, and I can give the best of references as to my good character. Sincerely, William Thomas Pike, 55 MacArthur Place, Carlton, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia.
So it's really clear there, isn't it, Amelia, how you've taken the concept of what Frank did in the era and you've just adapted it slightly. What were you thinking as you wrote that? And little scribers, while we're doing that, we want you to keep adding to your word banks, because in just about a minute or so, we're going to have a bit of a zoom around and see what sort of words, historical words and persuasive words you've come up with. And we're going to have a bit of a look before we start writing our own letter. So we'll bring that letter from Billy up again. And Amelia, what did you do here just to make it more from a child's perspective and in Billy's voice?
Well, I was mindful of 2 things. First of all, that the character is a kid, but secondly, that kids would be reading it. So some of the things I adjusted were, obviously, a 12-year-old kid doesn't have 12 years experience of working in the job that they want to get. So what I tried to do was have my character talk about his qualifications in reference to anything that was relevant. So, I've been a reading customer at the bookshop. He's never worked in a bookshop before because he's only 12. I'm trustworthy because I do jobs for my family. That's another thing. Some other considerations were, you'll notice the bits where he sort of stammers over the words. That was a great reading. That's to reflect where the words have been crossed out. I imagined that this character would not be able to get, infinite paper, that he'd maybe only have one shot at it. And I also made sure that those sentences were complete, just to make it easier to read. But there were some other things that I wanted to keep.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the bit about smoking was really interesting, and I thought it would be funny to read it today, to have a 12-year-old kid saying, I don't smoke.
Or drink,
Or drink. But the thing is, I've seen cartoons from back in those days, like public service announcements about the demon drink and the evils of smoking. And there were kids who did that sometimes. Yeah. So I included that from Frank J. Southmade's letter. But I also could not resist the best of references.
Yeah.
Can give the best of references as to my character. I thought that was such a great historical nugget, so I did include that as well.
Yeah. All right, Amelia, we're going to get everyone writing their own letter in just a minute, but just very quickly, Littlescribers, we'd love to see some of the writing you've been doing this morning. So we're going to do a zoom around the country and have a look. So remember to hold your paper or your boards up very clearly and still to the camera. We're going to come to those in just a second. Amelia, I'll read some of those out for you as well to have a look at. And James, do we have anything in the chat yet as well?
Let me have a
teachers,
quiz.
you can be putting some of these words and ideas in the chat for us too.
Nothing in the chat yet, but I will keep my eyes open.
Don't forget, teachers, remember, we'd love to hear from you in the chat. We're just going to have a look at a Zoom in a moment to see what you've been working on. Remember to hold your boards up nice and still.
I've been popping down some of the words from Billy's letter into the word bank as well. So he was saying things like top of my class, enthusiastic interest, exceptional business, so he's buttering them up too, conscientious, persistent, honesty, industry, responsibilities. All those were really good bits of persuasive language.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And I wonder how many other words our little scribers have come up with, because in just a second, we're going to get, oh, here we go. We've got some coming up now.
Fantastic.
Look at that. So we've got...
Experience, familiar, dear sirs, hear more of the particulars.
Hear more of the particulars. I love that.
Yeah, that's a great one. Oh, you can see them all right there, Amelia. Fantastic.
Yeah, I can see one of them.
I love I would beg to say. I mean...
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, the all paragraphs, no dot points, yes. No references put in there specifically, yes. The structure is less formal in some ways. Is the missing of some of those words at the start of the sentences, is that due to like the way that people would write in telegrams? Where they would like cut out words to save money?
It seems to be quite a historic side to it, isn't it? There's another great one there. It's a little bit blurry. I am familiar with. That is quite formal language. The language is very formal, isn't it?
Having all care of. Dear Sir, Amelia, beg.
All care of, yeah. I think that's great. Look, you've really got the hang of this, Amelia. I reckon we should get them all writing their own words. I would beg to say that's a very popular one, isn't it?
Street railway,
Yeah.
having all care of. Brilliant.
All right, let's get them writing, Amelia, because we're going to run out of time. It's so interesting reading through these letters and having this glimpse into history. So let's get everybody writing now. So we're going to get them to write their own letter. What would you like, advice would you give when they're going to write their own reference? And this is response to a couple of ads that you've pulled out as well. So the first one we're going to look at is a lolly shop ad. So little scribers, have a look at this, see if this is something you might to respond to. And Amelia, when we bring this up, maybe you can give our little scribers a couple of tips on how they're going to go about it. Would you like to?
Certainly.
Would you like to read it out quickly, James?
Wanted, strong youth well used to horse. Apply St. Paul Brothers Confectioners near Meat Market, Hotham.
I love it. So, Amelia, what should they be looking at here, and what should our little scribers be thinking about when they're going to write their own response if they decide they want to work in this lolly shop?
Well, they'll need to emphasise what makes them good for this job. So one thing they've asked for is strong, because confection has had to really work the dough quite hard. They might also want to talk about any experience they've had handling cash, or talk about, who could vouch for them. You can extend your references section. Instead of just saying, I've got references, try saying, who could vouch for you? Maybe a teacher or someone like that. And what else will we need for a
That's probably a good start. Let's have a look at the other ad, because they might want to choose this other job, which is a horse and cart ad. I'm really interested to see this one. James?
Boy wanted, lad to tend horse and phaeton and drive. R.H. Crawford for Hindley Street.
So a phaeton looks like you're saying it was a small four-wheeled fast carriage pulled by horses. So basically, they've got to be a chauffeur, right?
Yeah, and for like a cool car, a fast, sporty little car, basically, except that it's got horses attached to it.
Yep.
So
looks great. So, Littlescribers, we're going to get you writing so we don't run out of time. There's a couple of key things you need to remember to include here. We're going to start the first one, Amelia, which is basically setting them up with their name, which job they're applying for. So, Littlescribers, we're going to have a couple of minutes here to do some writing. I'm going to get you to start by writing your name and also which job you're applying for. So that's like who is the application for and which job. That's the first thing you're going to start working on now. And Amelia, we'll just chat, give them some tips while they start writing. Then we'll move on to the next part of the letter, which is the bit that's going to make it really persuasive. So
someone just asked a really good question that I'd love to respond to.
Yeah, go for it.
Which was, were girls allowed to apply for jobs? They were. And there were lots of these jobs in the newspapers as well. Girls were often encouraged to do things like apply to be a housemaid or a nanny. And girls could apply for jobs in factories to be things like biscuit packers. Those were co-ed, not co-ed. Those were, anyone. But I chose the lolly shop and the chauffeur one because I thought they were more exciting to write about.
Yeah. So everyone can apply for those today, I think. That's fine.
Yeah. Anyone can apply for those.
Yeah. So
in today's session.
So by now, Littlescribers, I think you will have written your name. You will have said who the application's for and which job you've chosen, the lolly shop or the horse and cart. So now, Amelia, we're going to move on to what is the persuasive part of their job application, which is the really important part if they want to get this job. So can you take us through some of the things? And Littlescribers, as Amelia's talking, I'd love you to start writing your response or the reasons why you think you should get this job. And Amelia's going to give you a little bit of a guide. So it could be the lolly shop, it could be the horse and cart chauffeur. What do the kids need to think about? It's essentially asking the question, why me, isn't it, Amelia?
Yeah. What's good about you? Why should you do this job? Why should they pick you? Maybe you can talk about, excuse me, I'm going to need a drink.
That's okay, Amelia. I'll give them some ideas that I've had. And James, maybe if you can think of some. I loved the one in those ads, which were the bad habits that you don't have. Because, I mean, these days, I don't think we'd say, well, I don't do all of these horrible things. So I really found that really unique and unusual for a reference when compared to perhaps what we do today or in a resume. What do you think, James?
I think, yeah, if you said in a job application, do not drink alcohol these days, people will go, why are you even bringing that up?
Especially as a 12-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
They might start to think, oh, goodness gracious. But that's something, Littlescribers, you could consider adding because we are writing a bit of a historical response to an ad here. So that could be something unique. And remembering some of the other words you had from that word bank, I beg to. I mean, that was a very popular one in the chat and everything as well. And some of those other really interesting responses that are different to the way we talk today. This is a historical response, Little Scribers, and we're really looking forward to seeing some of the words or sentences. And teachers, I know it's going to be hard to write the whole reference in the chat, but if you want to share snippets of your students' work in the chat, we'll be able to see and read those out as well in a moment. So I hope you're all busy writing. Amelia, what other things could they perhaps include to persuade someone to give them a job as a horse chauffeur, carriage chauffeur, or in a lolly shop? I think I'd like the lolly shop.
So you've got your personal traits, you've got bad habits that you don't have. Perhaps you could put down what days of the week you'd like to work. I've seen that in some historical examples. If you've got any experience with horses for these two jobs, or other animals maybe, you could include that. What else do we reckon, Chris?
I think they're great ideas, and I think even just showing that you love the animals and experience, because like Billy was sort of talking about how great he was at home and how he loves books and loves going to the bookstore. I wonder if it would get you the job at the lolly shop to say, I really like coming and buying lollies at the lolly shop. Do you think that would work?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, talk about your expertise with confectionery. Maybe you're a super taster.
Yes.
Or perhaps for the carriage, your interest in horses, or your interest in
Lollies.
travel. Maybe you've got a good sense of direction.
Yeah.
That'd be good. That'd be helpful for the driver.
Yeah. Well, that's really, I think they're fantastic. And look, James is giving us a bit. Which ad are you applying for, James?
Lollies.
Lollies. Well, I think
Definitely
we're going to
lollies.
get a lot of lolly applications. Did you hear I did that? A lot of lolly? A lot of lolly applications. Have you got something you'd like to read out? And then in just a moment, Little Scribers, we're going to do another look around the country. Amelia, I can't wait to see what people have done. I wonder how many horse chauffeurs we've got, or how many lolly shop applications. I think there's going to be a few lolly ones. James, do you want to share yours while we are waiting? We're going to do a zoom around in just a moment.
I've just got a little bit so far. So I go, Dear sirs, I would beg to offer my service in your exceptional business. Have been a customer for many years now. Have 5 years experience as a stable hand with Mr. F.D. Sidebottom and family.
Oh, so you're going with the horses?
Well, you've got to have experience with horses.
I
For
thought
this
you were
one
doing
as
the
well.
lolly shop.
But both. You need experience with horses
No,
for both.
the lolly shop also says horses.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
I'm
says
sorry,
well
I'm-
used to horse. I could have
I
just written.
forgot that.
I am well used to horse.
Well used to horse.
Am strong. Am youth.
So you've done a really great job reflecting the language there, James. I love that. I think maybe it's also in the delivery. I'm not sure. I think he does a very good job reading them out. Okay, let's have a look around the country, Amelia. I can't wait to see. And teachers, don't forget, we'd love to see little bits and pieces in the chat. Maybe you could even just share how many lolly shop applications you've got, because, you know, that lolly shop's going to be busy as well. Oh, here we go. Dear sirs,
I, Bob the Third, would like to formally apply for a job in your exquisite lolly shop.
Oh,
I
great
love
language.
seeing smiles, and oh, we're just going to move it across a little bit. It's cutting off some words, and I long that I know that working at your 5-star shop will not only bring me happiness, but all the customers I shall serve. If I hear a reply, then hopefully we can talk about details. Sincerely, Bob the Third.
what did you like about that one, Amelia?
Well done, Bob the Third. I loved how they extended exceptional business into exquisite lolly shop.
Yeah.
That was really awesome. And talking about it would bring me happiness and the customers I shall serve.
Yeah.
Shall was a lovely touch. Really well done there.
Brilliant. And here's another one, and there's some funny stuff in this one too,
This is
James.
Ryan from Year 5 and 6 Dungog. Dear Lolly Shop, I would very much like to be in this lolly shop, as I am very young, but I can control my greed. I am fine sitting in some shop, and I will make sure we get the right amount of money, because I can do more than 2 + 2. It equals 4, you see. I like lollies. Yours respectfully, Ryan.
I'd give Ryan the job too. I think this lolly shop's going to have a lot. What do you think, Amelia?
I think that's awesome. Let's hear from Amy. Hello, I'm applying for manager/employer. Hello, I'm applying for the lolly shop employee spot, for I am exceptional at maths and good at handling produce.
Oh, these are
Nice use of
fantastic.
for there, for as because. That's historical language too, isn't it?
Oh, I think these are fantastic.
It's so good.
So great. Well done, everyone. Oh, we've got another
The
one
historical register is awesome. You're all really good at that.
Dear
Oh.
sirs, I, Jake Cameron, I am responding to your ad in the London Lunchtime News. I am very skilled in controlling and feeding horse and can direct a carriage with ease and have a great sense of direction.
Oh, we have a horse one. I love that. And that is fantastic too. What did you like about that, Amelia?
Jake Cameron. That's an excellent use of the historical register. I've just noticed a response from Clay here that was begging for the job. Please, my family needs money. Clay did a great job of doing the historical register. I've paraphrased there. Very skilled in controlling and feeding horse in that last example was awesome too. Very skilled. I love that.
Yes, that's some amazing writing. These little scribers are amazing, Amelia. We're so blown away by all the work you're doing. Now we're going to get you doing something new. We're going to flip the picture. We're going to take everything we've just learnt about writing a persuasive letter to get a job, but we're going to move it into the modern world. What would you like everyone to do, Amelia?
Well, I believe we're writing an application to work in a bookshop just like Billy Pike, but we're going to work in Dimmicks. So for our application, we'll need to talk about our relevant qualifications. This time, though, you'll need to write it in. You'll need to leave out the historical register, right? And am I supposed to
No.
be seeing something
No,
on the screen here?
we'll just talk through it. So we're doing a response to a Dimmicks ad. This time around,
Yes.
we want you to use language that you would use today. So there are 3 really great words that we were talking about before, Amelia, that I think would be great that they could include. And one of them was resilience, for example, which is a word that we use a lot more in modern times that perhaps we wouldn't have seen historically. There's also proactive, and we're going to use very professional language. So some nice modern words. They're going to be a little bit different. So when you were doing your lists before and your word banks, we had some great persuasive ideas. So you're still going to want to include all of those, but we want the language to be the way we would speak today. So we're going to start again, and Amelia, we'll keep chatting about whether they want to do the bookshop. I mean, I think if they really want, perhaps they could even do a job in a vet or a zoo or an ice cream shop, perhaps.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So the vet example is connected to our horse example, and the ice cream shop is connected to our lolly example. So whatever you chose the first time, just do the modern version of that, basically.
Yeah,
That's
or a
the gist,
bookshop.
isn't
Entirely up to you. So, little
Yeah.
scribers, we're going to get going again with some writing, and we're going to keep chatting to give you ideas as we go. So, James, you've got to have a think about what you might like to do, what job you want now. Okay.
Sure.
So, you might still want the lolly shop. You might want to go to an ice cream shop, or you
Okay.
might want to do something different. It could be a
right.
bookshop.
Okay.
It could be Dimmicks. It could be a vet or working at a zoo. So this time, little scribers, again, we're going to just start with your name again and be factual about who you are and which job you're going to want, and then we're going to move next to the why me. But let's just start with that. Amelia, what are some of the words perhaps that you think would be important for them to be using in a more modern setting? What are the way, and also the structure, how would that be different around?
Well, one thing that appeared in a lot of the historical ads was they would say smart to mean well presented. So talk about how professional you'll dress, for instance, how you'll show up on time. That'd be another good one. Punctual would be the word for that. Proactive is one of our words that we'd like you to use. And that's certainly not one that you see in historical examples. And as for the why me part, just like we had in the example from Billy, a good idea for you to use would be some subjects you're good at, some things you're good at school.
And I think the big difference as well is going to be how a modern resume perhaps looks different, or an application is a bit structured a bit differently. So
Yes.
let's give, okay, so you should have done your name, you should have decided which one you're going to apply for, a zoo, a vet, the bookshop, or perhaps the ice cream shop or a lolly shop today. So let's have a look at the structure now of the main part of it. So I'm thinking in terms of the structure, obviously we want to include the skills. So you should have written that top bit. So maybe with some dot points, Littlescribers, you could include some skills here. You could list them out in dot points, which would again be quite different, wouldn't it, Amelia?
Certainly. We saw something kind of similar in the Frank J. Southmaid letter, but he didn't use dot points. He just used incomplete sentences. This time around, when you're listing your skills or reasons you'd be good for the job, do those as a dot point list, because that's something that we do in job applications today.
It sure is. And I'm not sure that we would include the bad habits I don't have this time. So maybe
No.
you might want to do a little paragraph that's about you. So you've got your skills perhaps in your dot points. But in your little paragraph, remember how Billy talked about his connection to the bookshop, that he liked to go there, and a lot of our wonderful historical ones, they like to eat lollies and they're very experienced with that. You might have a connection that you want to frame as part of your letter to your job, Littlescribers. So you've got your who you are, and you've got your what job you're applying for, you've got some dot points with your skills, then you might just want to write a few sentences which are going to tell them why you, what is your connection, what do you love about that particular shop, why do you want to work there, and maybe instead of some bad habits you don't have, maybe some really great habits that you do have. We've got
something we, sorry, Chris.
No, go on, Amelia.
I just wanted to say something that we often do in job applications today that you don't really see in historical examples is a touch of your personal life. So you could talk about your hobbies and interests, whereas we didn't really see those in the historical examples. I think Frank J. Southmaid just said that he was married, and it didn't really give much of his personality. These days, they really expect your personality. So that'd be a great replacement for the bad habits one.
So great ways to do that as well, it's just to sort of flip it around. I'm a perfectionist. This is what I love. I am inspired by working with animals. I am passionate about caring for animals. There's some examples of ways, Littlescribers, you could talk about things that you love. I have spent much time examining and exploring all of the different flavours of Messina ice cream. That could be another thing you could include there. My family loves ice cream. We've been eating it for many, many years. I think that would be very persuasive. What do you think, Amelia?
That'd be fantastic. I can imagine it now. I've been eating ice cream since I was 1 year old.
That would get them the job for sure. So Littlescribers, I'm hoping that you've got some really great ideas. So there is another thing we can add there to our modern... Oh, James has got one going. Before we give you that one last piece, James, do you want to share a bit of yours there?
Sure. So I put my contact details up here. Giacomo Foley Pants, 3 Lowbrow Street, Dunkton. And then I said, attention, hiring manager Dimmicks. To whom it may concern, I'm writing to apply for the position of sales assistant at your Sydney store. Skills, qualifications. Bachelor of Arts in English and Creative Writing. 3 years reviewing books on Instagram and TikTok with 3,500 followers. I read widely but specialise in sci-fi and fantasy.
I like how specific that is. Like, that's really great and relevant to the job itself. And then you can obviously also add some references, things like that. Yeah, that's fine. So, Littlescribers, I can't believe how fast this session's going. I bet you've got some amazing writing. And remember, this is just a first draft, and we'd love you to keep working on this afterwards. But we're going to have one more quick zoom around before we look back on the session. So if you could hold up what writing you've got, and we've got some in the chat, James.
We do.
And Amelia. So while we're getting some zooms up, James, do you want to share what's in the chat there?
There was a great one that we missed just for the historical one. I have
Okay.
to read this. It's from Bianca II, Stage 3 Italian bilingual. Dear sir, I truly do think I'm worthy of working at such a fine establishment. Not to toot my own horn, but I am a bit of a lolly expert. I have also had past experience with horses. Sincerely, Bianca II.
Oh, I love that one.
Okay,
Well
but there
done,
is-
Bianca.
Saw
the
that
second.
one in the chat. That was fantastic.
But there is another more modern one. Dear scribes, my name is John. I would be ecstatic if I could get the bookshop job. I love reading books and would give great advice to customers so they will come back often. Kindly regards to John.
Fantastic, John. What could John add to that, do you think, Amelia, to make it even better in his next draft?
Specific skills, perhaps, for John. And was that for the historical one or the modern day one?
Oh, I thought that was more
I
of a
think it was
modern one.
modern.
Yeah, I thought so too. So for the modern day one, maybe some personal interests in your last paragraph could extend that one a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. All right, look, I don't think we're going to get to that Zoom now, but we will. Oh, we will? Oh, no. Yes, I'm getting the nod. We are going to get a Zoom quickly. Hopefully we can bring up a couple of boards to have a look at as well. Here we go.
Dear Candyland.
I saw you were looking for a new employee and I'd like to apply. I'm only 11, but I'm very strong, intelligent, and like eating Takis. I can handle money well and can restock the lollies and don't slack off. I would enjoy meeting you. Ben Hall, South Quandale Street.
Oh, fantastic, Ben. And remember on your rewrite as well, Ben, you can use some dot points to give us some skills. Oh, just move that back a little bit so we can see the whole page. That one
Dear
that's up there.
sir, I'm great at thinking on the spot and top of my class in everything. But best of all, I've aced all my maths tests. I do Air Force cadets. My mum says I'm a great pilot, but only can fly if I get her business class for free. So please consider this. Thank you for your time.
I love that. I'm not sure which job that one's for, but that's fantastic. One more we'll have a look at. Hi, Jack. I want to work at your shop.
Your ice cream
shop.
I'm not a loser. So I have a lot of best friends forever, so I can like text them to come. See ya, Dottie.
Well done, Dottie. And Dottie, remember, we were going to try to say our positive qualities, not what we were not good at, but I still love that. I think that would be highly persuasive. But just remember, if you are doing Littlescribe, working on your things, remember some of that structure. Which job you're applying for, you've done that really, really well. And then we move on. James, very, very quickly, can you, in like 30 seconds, can you run us through what we've done today?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. Amelia Mellor, construction persuasive letters from Buzz 0 to 10. Okay, she's written some amazing books. She's done some amazing research and found some old historical documents to help her do her writing. We had a look at some of them too and looked at the historical words and the persuasive words. And then we looked at the way she used those in her book as well with the character of Billy. Lolly shop job, horse and cart job, we had to go at writing it. I had maybe a horse could do, I am a strong, youthful horse, can I work in the lolly shop? And then we did a modern day job application as well, modernising the language. And that's what we did. Amazing. Done.
Well done. You did do that in 30 seconds. Amelia, it has been an absolute joy to have you on. I can't believe we've run out of time, and we would love to see the Littlescribers do more. But thank you so much for coming along today, and well done with your voice.
Thanks
You
for
made
having
it.
me. That went in a flash. I particularly liked the horse applying for the job. That was great.
That was fantastic. Now, teachers, just remember there are lots of resources on the platform. You can take those applications. You could do some fun historical applications. You can upload them to create a collaborative book that could be a nice little snapshot of what your class has written, either what they've done today or what they can draft and edit and elevate to make even better. And we would love to see that work. Now, up next, the wonderful Amelia with some animal character fun. Another Amelia, different Amelia. Littlescribers, thank you so much for joining us today. Have a wonderful time. And thank you again, Amelia and James.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Amelia.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.